So when you open a grid component in a pop-up window, Alpha automatically generates code for you that prevents you from closing the pop-up window if there are unsaved edits in the grid. So for example, here's a button that's going to open up a grid in a pop-up window, and if I go there now and I make a change but do not commit the change, when I try to close the window, I get told that I must first either cancel or save my changes. But while that works fine, in many cases you're going to have a grid that has a linked grid. So for example, in this case we've got a customer grid here, and then underneath this we have another grid which is linked, which is the orders grid. So you would probably also want to prevent the window from closing if either the parent grid or any of its children are dirty as well. So you can see now, if I go there and change that to say a 5 now and try to close the window, I get another message here saying that the orders grid is dirty, please save changes first. So let's go back now and take a look at how that was done. So the first thing that we need to note is that we need to get the object name of the child grid, and the easiest way to do that is to actually go to the child grid itself. So there's my orders grid, so that's the child grid, and then go to the client-side events and go to the grid on-grid render complete event. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the object name, the grid object name or variable, and store it in a global variable whose name I know. So now window.underbar child object I know is going to basically be the alias, not the alias, the object pointer to that child grid. So that's important. So now I know basically the object that contains the orders grid. Then what I'm going to do is go to the button that opens up the grid. So you can see there we've opened up the grid, and here's the code, and we've checked this button, warn before closing grid, but this is only warning if the parent grid is dirty. We want to warn if the child grid is dirty as well. So we're going to go here to our JavaScript events, and in the on before hide event we're going to basically get this value out of window.underbar child object. So this now is the pointer to the child object, and if that object exists, we're going to check to see whether that object's underbar is dirty flag is true, and then if it is, then we know that the child grid is dirty, and we want to prevent the user from closing. So we put an alert up, and then this function returns false, and if the on before hide event returns false, then the window doesn't close. So that's all that was necessary in order to prevent the window from closing if either the parent grid or the child grid are dirty. And of course this technique can be extended to a situation where the parent grid might have many different linked child components. Thanks very much for watching.